Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching this Ag Forecast video for South America brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we're checking on some satellite data here at the end of the day today as the sun was setting, we're seeing quite normal monsoonal thunderstorm activity across much of Brazil, and that's something we've seen a lot for the last about 45 days. It was a pretty, what we would call normal onset of the monsoonal circulation. We're going to talk more about that in just a second. One thing I want to point out though is look right here off of kind of the west coast of Chile, and this particular part of the marine stratocumulus layer actually has a cool transition from what we call closed cell convection to open cell. I know it's kind of hard to see there, but it's just a neat thing to witness. Now, I want to transition from that and look at the last 30 days of precipitation, and we're looking at anomalies, and this is in millimeters. And just a reminder for those of you that are wanting to do a quick conversion in your head, about 30 millimeters is an inch, so just roughly speaking there. So when we look at this overall, we can find some drier pockets. Like it's been quite dry overall in parts of Argentina, and even though you see some drier conditions in this section of Mato Grosso and even pockets of Mato Grosso do Sul here, I just want to remind you that to be about an inch below average over the last 30 days still means that this area did receive quite a bit of precipitation. We've been very wet farther to the south, and even compared to normal over parts of Brazil's eastern growing areas as well. And I'm kind of thinking about some of the reasons for the pattern we've seen both in Brazil and Argentina. I want to talk about the Antarctic oscillation for just a moment here, because from late August through September it came up, and then we talked, we just brought this up in the last video, but then it dropped back off through much of October, and toward the end of it here it's risen again. And the forecast tends to keep it higher than normal. And why do we watch the Antarctic oscillation? Well, let me just show you real quick. We know this. When you correlate it against precipitation rate, it tends to be drier than normal here, with above normal when you see these colors. Now this is a correlation coefficient, so it's not that strong. But one of the stronger features of having a positive Antarctic oscillation is it tends to be drier right in this area. And you just notice that we saw that, there was an area down here that was drier. Now, certainly wetter in Paraná and southern Mato Grosso do Sul, but we're going to be on the lookout if this stays positive that could continue a drier trend in this area. And the reason why it does it, and you're looking down here on the South Pole, is that when you have a positive Antarctic oscillation, it tends to really concentrate the stronger winds. Oops, I should draw it this way. The stronger winds in the jet stream coming around out of the west, and they just tend to contract closer to Antarctica. Therefore, we have weaker flow here, fewer big low pressure systems, and it's just drier farther to the south in this part of Argentina. That's the gist of how this is going to work. Now, the rest of the monsoon, though, has looked like this quite a bit. You're looking at the color shading in the background being precipitable water, and the values are high. So we're not missing out here on, on moisture overall in this area. And the flow, this is actually the typical flow of what the monsoon typically does here. Now, think about all of that. Just a reminder, over the last month, we have seen above normal precipitable water amounts across much of Brazil. It's been drier farther to the south. And so this has not been a year where we've had a late onset of that moisture. But remember what I showed you a few moments ago about what the AAO staying positive is? Well, take a look at the next, here it is, the next 10 days of precipitation anomalies. We do continue to see the models picking out this area as drier, more instances of higher atmospheric pressure. Why it's wetter on this side is because basically we're getting the flow to come around and push up against the Andes Mountains, and so we increase the precipitation here. There are some weak fronts that come through, but they're nothing like we can get, which really slide through this area, if you remember back over the last month, and really produce a lot of precip. But it's going to be very wet in a corridor here. Some places picking up, now this is in inches, it's kind of small to see here, but some places 2 to 4 inches of excess rainfall just in the next 10 days. So let's go ahead and take a look at it here by using the high-res European model. And as we go from Thursday now into Friday and into Saturday, we're going to get these flashes of green. I talk about that all the time. That's your normal afternoon, evening monsoonal rainfall. We do have a weak frontal boundary right here that's coming through on Saturday night into this part of Paraguay and southern Brazil. But it's not as though it's delivering a lot of precipitation. And as we work out through Sunday of next week and into Monday, you can just see this large kind of donut hole here all the way out to next Tuesday where it's drier. We're just pushing the flow around it. There's generally higher atmospheric pressure in the inside of this. As we play into next Wednesday and then Thursday and Friday, we don't see any major well-defined features that come racing through southern Brazil coming out of Argentina. So we come back to this map and we see now why we got that drier pocket there. I would like to show you the total accumulated precipitation though. So as we play through Saturday into Sunday now, Monday of next week, going into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can easily identify that corridor of much above average precipitation and the drier pocket right in through here, looking out over the next week or so. So the model's quite consistent, and it's been quite consistent throughout this week as I've been putting in my morning reports. Temperature stresses, we're just not seeing them yet. We're above average here for late spring down in Argentina and parts of far southern Brazil. But much of the rest of Brazil is seeing near normal to cool to the normal temperatures, at least as forecast by the European model. Now, speaking of the European model, my last two slides are the long range for this. Notice that into week 2, the European keeps this same area drier than normal. Now, that's consistent with what's going on with the La Nina, which continues to strengthen. And it's consistent with what I think we're seeing with the Antarctic Oscillation. And the models then take that and continue this all the way through this time period of November the 10th through December the 10th. So you know that from a lot of my video work, I've been discussing how this is an area that I'll be concerned about through all of the rest of the Southern Hemisphere spring and the Southern Hemisphere summer because of what this La Nina is doing. And just to give you a quick perspective on it, let's just go take a look at this real quickly here. Whoops. And this La Nina, I think it's going to peak sometime in January, but there's a lot of cold water still to surface here, and therefore it's going to continue to strengthen as we go forward in this forecast. So we'll just leave it right here on this map looking at November 10 to December 10 and just showing the risks of being much below normal in terms of precip in southern Brazil. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you all have a good rest of your week and weekend. I'll talk to you again on Monday. Thanks.